Okay, keep your eyes closed if they're not closed, close them. Notice the momentum of the day. And notice your placement of awareness in the momentum of that day. How much of you is fully here? How much of you is elsewhere? And by elsewhere, I don't mean somewhere else, I mean living somewhere else here. Living in a different memory, time, or place in this moment. It's impossible not to be present, but we can use our present moment to experience the moment that's presenting ourselves as an offering, as grace, as a gift, as light, as love. We can receive, or we can try and narrate, control, dictate, command, resist, reject, detest, fight. Both exist just here in this moment, except one of them is really, really shit, and the other one is really, really nice. And just as you have to do nothing for the sun to come up and touch your face, you have to do nothing to fight your thoughts. You have to do nothing to surrender. My invitation will stay the same each week, just to stop all the doings, stop all the shrines, stop all the dissatisfaction, and just arrive. And we can just arrive in this moment fully together in emptiness and total forgetting of everything. Forgetting of name, forgetting of time, forgetting of form, forgetting of place. Just let it all go. Let all your past go. Let all your future desires go, and just find out what's here first. They'll be waiting for you when you look at them. Just for one moment, one honest moment of inquiry into the truth of yourself. When you're completely honest in this inquiry, this surrender, you can find out where you're resisting it. You can find out the little mind games and the little mirages that are being made to just stop you. Because to truly become nothing is quite terrifying for the mind, but quite liberating once experienced. So we can be honest in these moments, and we can feel where we're blocking ourselves from letting go. We can see the repeat stories that come up in these moments. Or we surrender and we can feel blissed, but does it sustain? Maybe a feeling not familiar. So we have to just keep letting go, keep surrendering, keep trying, keep releasing. So this next moment of the practice, we're going to use our breath to eliminate any stress we carry. And do that by breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. 2 more times. Breathing in. Last one, as loud as you can or you want, and release. You can open your eyes. Welcome. Is everyone okay?
Hi.
Good, thank you. It's good to see you. I'm a bit high. I'm on medication today and it's made me feel really dizzy all day, so excuse me if my words don't flow out as elegantly as normal, because I've had a few conversations today where I've tried to say something and the words are just not there, so you have to deal with the fact that I'm slightly dosed up at the moment. Okay, so we're practicing this art of surrender, we're practicing the art of stopping, So has anyone had any reflections over the last 2 weeks on anything that's been going on that has been a hindrance to their practice or that has been a blessing to their practice? Anything to share?
I've been trying to stop, but it's actually very difficult when you've got somebody living with you who doesn't buy into that, because you're continually brought back, continually brought back. And so I've been struggling with that a bit.
Yeah, that's interesting because they're all carrots, they're all bits of bait just dangled, and the choice still remains to bite it on. And I know that sounds really tedious, but the engagement with the action is the knowing that I'm going to remove my position as consciousness or awareness, and I'm going to come into ego. And especially in a relationship like you've got at home at the moment, the action or the bait can be so quick that it feels like there's no choice to be had there. It's like a trigger, and it's a trigger for a reason because it goes off so sharply. And preparing yourself for the trigger is so good so far, but what you can really do is each time you come out, you can use that as I lost my position as awareness there. What did she say, and why was I either offended or righteous or annoyed or agitated, or did she take away my self-worth? Did she make me not feel loved in that moment? What was it that was able to make my vibration feel lower? Because this is what happens, right? When we have these interactions with people, when something knocks us out of our high frequency, or we feel it knocks us out of our high frequency, it's actually a piece of us that shuts down in that interaction. It's a piece of us. We come from formless into form. We identify, and then some of our worth feels like it's being contained in that interaction. And then because we've shut ourselves down, we're then agitated, and then we're bound to the form rather than the formless. So they're really, it's the truth to say that all of these things are reflections of our own way we shut ourselves down. So they're lessons. They're not the best lessons, they're not the funnest lessons, and yeah, it's great when you live on your own and it's harmonious, but the truth is that's not the environment at the moment. So I would take it out of the context of rigidity and start to play again. To have fun. You know? I was speaking to a friend recently who said, I forgot how to play. I forgot. At some point we come out of childhood and we forget to just play, just to have fun with the moment. And you only have to look at a kid to recognise that they are innately in the present moment, you know? How long is a kid upset for, really? Not very long. How long is a kid happy? Like, they're really embedded in the present moment. And he made it a mission to go and play. No matter how stupid, to get a game, to go in the garden, to do stupid things like hopscotch, to go on the swings and do these things. And it started to lift his energy into a higher form. And it meant that when these circumstances happen, the ones that we're, you know, all of us probably now are so rigid about, you know, oh, I don't want to get knocked off, you know, we're so tense about it. If we could just change that reaction and that environment, or the framing of it as stressful, and move it into play, I'm going to play with it. I'm going to play with that interaction next time. It might just take the heaviness out of it. But I don't know. It's just a bit of advice. So, yeah, thank you for sharing. Anyone else want to share anything about their practice? If not, we can begin.
I'm happy to just super quickly, if that's all right,
No, you're
please.
fine, yeah, sure.
I guess when I first properly accepted your invitation to stop and tried to fully embrace it, stopping to me meant, because before I did, I was like desperately trying to get out of ego and be consciousness, awareness, being, whatever, and be the witness and live my life like that. And I was desperately trying to seek like a framework so I could visualize it, and I used to torture myself reading books and videos, whatever. And my invitation to stop was to chill out with all of that stuff and just fully embrace the moment and be there. So, but I guess the first couple of weeks I was scared to do that because I was so, my mind was so obsessed with living from a point of awareness rather than ego. I was scared that if I dropped the search, I would forget the teaching and I would stop recognizing the oneness that we all are and all of that. And almost like, I don't want to stop the search because I'll become fully back into ego and I'll forget everything you've ever told me, and then it'll make me potentially more selfish, or, you know what I mean, rather than living in it from a state of oneness, I'm starting to see divisions again. And I was a bit scared to let go, if you like, but I've continued to just let go, and I haven't, and I've just thought, this is all I need to come in here on a Wednesday with you guys and with you, sort of thing. I've just deleted all the apps on my phone and just sacked it all off, to be honest with you. Yeah, and I've now living from I know you mentioned playful, that is a word that really resonates with me, because I've become definitely, like with my daughter, like more playful and more just present and playful, and just enjoying being an ego in the play of life, but I'm not forgetting the fact that essentially we are all one, you know what I mean, we are all awareness, and that fear that I originally had has gone, and it has become just from repeating, stop the crazy searching and seeking that I was doing. So I'm living the best of both worlds. I've got the deep whatever it is, the deep understanding or recognition that we are all one awareness. However, I'm enjoying the play of life.
It's wonderful. That's the perfect thing. It's because we have an ego, and we have a mind, and we have a body, and that's included. It's not to be neglected. It's not to be resisted. And most of the time, or what I see as a teacher and as a yogi, there's a point in spiritual tradition where we start to want to annihilate the ego. We want to get rid of it. We don't want it anymore, and it becomes this all outrageous war. And this is how I read the Bhagavad Gita. This is how I read the story of Krishna and Arjuna. I read it from the philosophical standpoint of soul, Atman, and ego, and having to do your daily Dharma, having to go to work, having to, just by living in this world, having to imprint karma, having to have interactions with people, not always positive, having to be here because we're in an always changing world. And if you're just trying to annihilate yourself, then you're missing the point of your incarnation at this moment. So exactly what you're saying, it's not to eliminate your ego, it's to coexist in complete harmony. It's to call off the search that there's something else that is going to complete you. And that takes radical honesty from each and every one of you in your meditation, in your life. It asks you to look, and for a start, this is really common, what you said, and this is common amongst all of us that practice. It's scary to think that we're going to let go of everything we've worked to achieve, because our identity is held in that. It's like, I could say to myself, if I stop doing my yoga practice, if I stop doing my meditation, I'm going to go back to being that sad, panicky, depressed person. How do I know that? I think that I was making myself worse by pushing that stuff away. So the invitation is to stop. So the meditation today is going to be to stop. Okay, so we'll play with that. I'll guide you through a few cues. We'll sit for a little while, and if you're uncomfortable sitting for the amount of time that we sit for, then fidget, and by your fidgeting I will recognise that you're unhappy, and then I'll stop meditating. If it's really still, I'm in a sort of mood where I'm going to stay there today, so have fun with it. Okay, there's no resistance, there's nothing to be afraid of. You can just close your eyes, you can fidget, you can find your seat. And you can watch yourself almost in an instant when you start to go into meditation, that we start to try. We're going to Tonight we're not going to meditate, we're just going to sit still. Just going to stop doing anything. And in the stopping, the meditation will happen, or the yogic state will happen, the blissful state will come from the absolute surrender. You might find that you'll sit here for a few moments and you want to breathe deeper, or you want to change yourself, or you want to just let the body be natural. The body will tell you if it needs to breathe deeper, and it will do it on its own. You don't need to do it with the mind. The only thing that you can do actively to aid yourself is relax. Is to soften your facial muscles, to soften your forehead, and just to really meticulously go from the top of your head down your body and see if you can let go of tension. See if you can imagine that there's space being made between each one of your cells. See if you can imagine that there's no tension in your lungs, in your belly, your back, your shoulders, your neck. There's so little tension that it feels almost weightless. And then you relax your facial muscles into the space of nothing. And then just allow your body to weigh down onto the earth through your legs and through your seat, and let the earth support your seat. And then just using zero effort, recognize the thing in your meditation that doesn't change. What notices all of the changes. What is not changing, what is the same, always. Go into it. Relax into it. And if thought or any sensations arrive in the body, any thoughts arrive in the body, notice the one that is noticing them. At what position can you see the thoughts, and who is it that sees the thoughts? What is that space? Fall into that. Fall into that by love, grace and surrender. By a true, honest, sincere approach, fall into it. in. And exhale through the mouth. Well done. You can open your eyes. How's everyone? Anyone having a shit time? Anyone want to be? Swing that in and get out of my head. I thought that was quite peaceful, but who knows? I'm living on a different plane today, so I don't know if it's really me. Okay, has anyone heard of the psychological sigh? Let's play with that today.
No.
Okay, so the psychological sigh. So we have two things that our body does, and this is absolute fact. Okay, this is the bridge of science and yoga. So let's learn something today, because we can sit here and do nothing, but there's times where we can use techniques as well. Okay, if there's one person, it would be me, that says you just need to do nothing, but then in the middle of a panic attack you catch me doing pranayama. Okay, so I know that I've got skills and techniques to get me out of it. All right, so I know it's easier said than done. Okay, so two things happen. If you take a big inhale, and it's vigorous, more vigorous than the exhale, the pulling down of the diaphragm sucks and it creates a vacuum, correct? That's what opens the lungs, right? Yeah? That vacuum, as it's created, expands the size of the heart, okay? Just a little bit. When the heart is expanded, it notices inside of the heart that there's more room, the pressure changes, and the heart speeds up, okay? It's faster, there's more room, it starts beating faster. So to increase, sharper inhales, okay? Not to decrease, then what do we think?
Sigh.
Sharper exhales, okay, yeah. Sigh, we're gonna get to that. Okay, and there's this test that they did a huge study on sighs, because the sigh is something you do, most of us do, right before we go to sleep. Yeah, we sigh, and our body relaxes, okay? And in our parasympathetic nervous system, one of the only things that there's a few things that we control, but most of these things in our body are running on their own. Even the most advanced yogi will really struggle to do the work, to get inside of there and control all of that stuff, okay? We have limited control. One of the things that we do have control over is our breath, okay? Another one is blinking. We can blink on command, and we can also blink without it, but the breath is really important. And they were working out by doing loads of different breaths and being strapped up to ECGs, and they were doing lots of tests, and they were using yogi breathing techniques, and they found this breath technique that happened to decrease heart rate quickly, but also had a huge impact on mental well-being, okay? And it works by taking a full inhale through the nose, and then take another one through the nose, and then sigh. And it's really important that you do the double inhale, okay? So the double inhale opens the alveoli in the lungs, and this enriches you, but you also are suppressing your normal breathing rhythm, which then activates your sympathetic nervous system, creating you to relax because you're now in control, and then the sigh drops the heart rate. And I have been using this since I learned it, just playing with it, and it feels good. It is very, very delicious, okay? So we're going to sit here and we're going to breathe together, and we're going to do this sigh together, and we're just going to see how you feel, you know, how we go, and then we're going to go into meditation. I'll talk us through it, and then we'll hopefully just breathe together. It's called the psychological sigh. I'll attach a link in the group later, and this can be used, and within 10 breaths you can alleviate a panic attack or anxiety, and you can get rid of things very, very fast with it, but you have to be good with the breath, okay? Really conscious. So close your eyes, sit up nice and tall. Take an inhale through your nose as much as you can, slowly. Pause and top it up, another inhale. Big sigh. Breathing in. Breathe in again. And sigh. Okay, we'll go together. Breathe in. last one. And just relax, breathe normally. Feel the sensations in your mind, feel how it's made you feel. Notice the sensations in your body. Does your body feel more spacious? Is there any aches and pains that have alleviated? Does your heart feel soft? Does it feel calm? Does it feel stressed? Does the space inside of your head feel more expanded, or does it feel more contracted? Investigate fully. How do your hands feel? How do your feet feel? How do you feel in general? And let all of the labels go and just rest, stop and be in it. everything. And let it go. Oh, Jesus Christ, meditation completed it, mate. You graduated, you can never come back, I can retire. It's nice. Did it have the effect? Did it make you feel calm?
Yeah.
Simple, right? Really easy. It's often better when science has taken people in labs and tested it on them. It's effective. It's really effective. You can use that when you're on a treadmill running. You want to slow your heart rate down, you can use that in a high intensity situation. But it's just a tool. It's just a tool. I don't know what to teach. I'm quite happy
Well,
saying
for
it.
me, I physically noticed a difference for that one. So like before that, I had a lot of like just like energy, emotion, sensation, and then when I did that, it kind of like cleared it a bit, which was really nice.
Yeah, it's a very
do
good point
that.
actually, Pete.
Yeah.
I think that's the most calm I've felt all week.
Yeah.
I did a Wim Hof one similar to that, and I don't really randomly before bed. I just thought, you know what, I just came across it and I thought I'll do it. And at first I felt really energised and I thought, oh, I'm not getting to sleep. And then I just felt calm like straight after, literally instantly. And that's how I felt in this. At first I thought, I felt quite energised, like I felt like tingling through my body and through my cheeks. And then I just literally just felt so calm after.
Yeah, like anything like that, when you activate prana in your body and it comes to life, you naturally feel energized. But it's the opening of the nadis in your body that relaxes you. It's getting rid of blockages, it's moving around, and it's creating like equanimity in your body. So actually, like if you're like holding your energy wrong, or if you've got chakras that are closed or whatnot, when you actually just breathe like that and open it all up, yeah, you feel energized because your body comes awake. And when your body comes awake, it relaxes. It's like, oh, I feel like I'm good again. It stops resisting it. So it sort of works hand in hand with each other. They're good for doing that. They're good for getting you out of your stuff as well. You know, I think I often forget because when I sit down to meditate, I just sit down and I let what is be there. You know, but sometimes it is fun just to be in a nice space and create a nice little sanctuary to sort of sit in. So
I think we tend to busy ourselves up so much, and the pace of life, it's like got so much momentum that to be able to stop actually is harder than you think it is. So to do pranayama before you come to that point, if you need it, if you've had a busy time, and what I'm saying, not always, there is in that situation, but yeah.
I think like what I suppose it boils down to is if you're trying to achieve something, as if that something's going to bring you eternal happiness, there's a problem. Which is what when we try and annihilate an ego, that's what essentially we try and do with the yoga practice, or what most of us end up in the road of, is going so far with it that we want to achieve a perfect state, and that is actually what yoga can provide. You know, if you were to live in an ashram and you were to do intense asana, intense pranayama, intense devotion, and intense practice every day, you can create a state of mind which is ecstatic at all times. But none of us were born there. The people that attain that were born in a situation and they become saints and sages because of their circumstances. We are absolutely householders. We're in the real world. We do real jobs, we have families, we have karma, we have things that are around us, and we don't have that capacity. I got to experience just a fraction of that when I went out there, and it was probably one of the best experiences of my life, and I still didn't stay because I had so much karma here. You know, if it was the be all and end all, would I have left? Absolutely not. If it was the best state and I was like, this is the best thing ever, then I would just stay there in San Krishna all day. I wanted to come home. You know, I still wanted to come back here because I'm a householder. Because what we fail to recognise is all of the things and experiences in my past are pulling me in this moment now. You know, And I only have to watch how I've shaped myself in my past by what I've done and what I haven't done, and I can really point out a perfect description of how my ego is in this moment, all the fears, all the worries, all the happiness, all the things it likes and dislikes. There's a perfect example of me if I just look at my past as to why I'm this way, you know. But there is always opportunity to recognise the piece of you that hasn't changed. In anything. In the darkest day of your life, in the happiest day of your life. And that's the invitation to stop. So yeah, by all means, if pranayama gets you to stop, then use it. You know, I love all of that sort of stuff. I need a yoga practice sometimes, a physical yoga practice to calm my body down. Other days I need a guitar. I always am constantly using someone, but every time I return to this or the space, I recognise, well, although I've done all of that, this hasn't changed. You know.
Or underneath it all.
Yeah, and you're allowed to want your ego to be happy. That's really important. Don't try and annihilate it. Become its best friend. Become its best friend. Become friends with your mind. You're allowed to do things. You're allowed to change your circumstances. You know, we've got to stop this idea of wanting to beat ourselves up. Go on.
I was just thinking yourself like, allow yourself to have that box of Maltesers.
Yeah.
Because hey, it'll make you feel good. It's okay.
Or allow yourself to relax, or allow yourself, I say that in my classes a lot, like just give yourself permission
We don't know,
to
do we?
relax.
If we're honest with ourselves, who's the one that's stopping you from relaxing most of the time? I've got this to do, I've got that to do, fucking nerd. And just like revving it up, you know? And then someone dare say allow yourself to relax, you know they want to get one of them. How dare you? I'm fucking
Just
stressed.
relax.
And it's like,
I am relaxed.
it's, the shame of it is we are the co-creators of our own suffering, you know? And do you remember when I said like the 4 traits of, the 4 keys to liberation or truth or to Satsang? One of them was Sangha, the company. It's important because this is a good way to cultivate an internal relationship that's healthy. If you're around good people that pick you up all the time, that tell you they love you, that are kind to you and all of this stuff, and they make you feel like you've got a lot of worth and they tell you nice things, and when you go home and you lay there in bed at night, oh, I'm a good person, I feel nice.
But even if they don't tell you that, even if they just think the same way you do, you can still go back home and think, I'm okay.
Yeah.
It's like when you're in a situation where you might be with someone who loves you. You know they love you. You know that they care about you. You know they want what's best for you. But because they don't tune into your frequency, it can be. You can go away from that meeting feeling really empty.
Correct.
Which is so sad.
But but this is
true.
There's an ultimate truth there. But the reason that we're saying about Sangha and people searching Satsang, like because the vibration fulfilled of this room is a kind one, or the vibration of truth is a kind, loving thing, because you could have 2 people that were Nazis together. And they're hanging around, and they're sharing the same opinions, and they go home and they think it's alright because they're hanging around. Like, that's not good, is it? You know, just because you're like-minded, 2 narcissists in a room, like it's really important because like if they're sharing, you got to be mindful that what you're sharing is really truthful. So I've shared company with people that have been negative, and I innately feel negative, and I've also hung around with them people through work for a long period of time. I've taken some of their values without choice. Just from being with them, I end up laughing at stuff that now when I look at it, I think, why did I laugh at that? But I buy into it because you, like anything, 2 vibrations together start to harmonise. And if you're in the wrong crowd all the time, you've got to do a fucking good job to pull them up to your vibration. You do, especially if it's a big crowd. You do better just to have this once a week, up, and then go and spread it. And then once a week, up, and then more people will come through this door and then spread it, you know. And I think Satsang is the ultimate thing, especially for little places. Like we're fortunate to live in somewhere like Ely. I used to think was a bit of a curse, you know. I was like, my outreach is very limited, you know, but I love it here so much I can't leave, so what do I do, you know? But actually, like to change the tide on a place like this is a lot easier than other places, you know. And so it's a right community, it's good people that live here. And I think that When you look at the yogis, when you look at my teacher Mark and the community there, there's a lot of richness to be said. And I think it could spread quite well there. You know, imagine 100 of us walking around either like this. Imagine the impact on the community. I believe in it massively. So Satsang is like the ultimate of just loads of people that know who they are and that are happy there and that can show love. So, what's the time, anyone? I haven't got the time.
It's 8:45.
8:45. What would you guys like to do? To chant? Should we do some chant?
I'd like to chant.
Anyone else happy to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. Should we chant? We don't give a fuck.
Actually, before we do, can I just ask something?
Yeah, please. That would help me.
I'm in a tricky place at the moment, and I just feel as if I've got so many people making demands that whatever is me is being squeezed until there's nothing me left, and that's not ego, or it's not my mind, because I've got my head around a lot of this stuff. It's not my body, because I kind of manage the physical demands of it, but actually it's finding time to make time at the moment to do the filling up, the sort of spiritual filling up, when actually that bit is just being squeezed. And I don't feel, I can't find the way to unring it at the moment.
Okay. Firstly, thank you. That's kind of sharing. I feel like that often. I feel like my cup is empty and I have nothing else to give.
It's really hard at the moment, yeah.
The people pleaser in me wants to say yes to everyone, but you have to be ultimately mindful that you've got to be kind to yourself. And all these people you're being kind to, are you doing it at the expense of being unkind to yourself? And sometimes when you are, then there's a line that has to be drawn, and you're okay to honour the fact that you haven't got anything to give. And you're allowed to say that. You know, there is a time for recluse, there's a time for trees to flower, there's a time for trees to die, there's a time for grass to grow, there's a time for it to fade, there's a time for the sun to rise, there's a time for it to fall. It all changes, we're included. There's a time for you to give, there's a time for you not to. You know, and don't be set in because you're a kind person and you're compassionate that because you're not giving it makes you any less worth. You're completely entitled to say no.
Can't do it anymore. What's at the moment anyway?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And I would watch myself, because when you start doing things, okay, this leads on to a wonderful point. When you start saying yes to people and you don't want to do it, there's a huge divide that happens. One, the energy that you're going to do the action with is filled with an energy of not wanting to do it. So the action that's going to happen for the person is not going to be at the value that the person was really wanting. Two, if you say no to someone, you open up the universe for someone who can actually help them to arrive. By saying yes when you don't want to do something, you not only create a problem for yourself, you normally create a problem for the other person. I learned this the hard way. So the best thing you can do is be honest and say no, even if it offends someone. And then in your saying no, they'll look somewhere else, they'll find a person suitable for that role, and you'll free up the energy that you needed.
Yeah, you've got it right.
Yeah. It's liberating. It's terrifying, you know, to say no, but you'll free up all of your channels. You'll reclaim. You know, you're like a river, and the more people you help, the more you fragment off. And just reclaiming a few of them and bringing them back can really nourish you. So just be brave in it. It's okay. It's okay to say no. I quite like saying no nowadays, you know. I'll just say no to everything. What would you like to chant? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, or I'm trying to remember how to play Hanuman. How would you, Hare Krishna?
Govinda.
Don't try and sing with effort. Just let it go.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Just sit still for a moment. Just let your experience reveal itself. Okay, take a deep breath in through the nose. And let the whole practice go. Okay. Thank you so much for coming and sharing space with me. I know I've been a bit off key today, but
Thank you, no, it's
hey,
lovely.
I said to Bea today, I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to teach tonight. She said, well, just sit there and do nothing. I think that was better than sitting there and doing nothing. Thank you. As per, I really appreciate you guys coming and helping me do this. It sort of keeps us both in it together. So I enjoy all of your company. I hope you have a good evening. And I'll see
Thank
you
you.
next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.